Hi there, I'm Randall Hardy and I'm recording this on the 1st of July 2026. I'm here to talk about what home educators might be able to do to help the situation going forward now that the Children's Wellbeing Act is in place. I don't want to focus on MPs because what they can do is limited. I'm not suggesting you set aside any connections you have with them, keep those going. But we are now in a phase where the politicians who can be most help to home educating families are in fact local councillors. And in this video, I want to encourage you to get to know them. The reason why they can be helpful is because they are actually the employers of the staff who will be implementing the provisions in the Act when they come into force. Now, we're not sure when that will be. There's been one comment about 2028 in the autumn of that year. That's not set in stone, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be in the next few months anyway. So we have a bit of time. But local councillors are far more important in this procedure going forward than most of us realise. They are generally, and I have been, and some of you will know this, encouraging people to get to know their local councillors for a long time. One of the reasons is that we personally had great success in getting a local authority to change its policy on elective home education by going to our local councillor. The thing about these politicians is they are local people trying to help their communities. And yet, like most politicians, very few of them know anything about home education other than what the mainstream media tells them. It's proved very helpful for some MPs to get to know one or more local home educating families. In the same way, getting to know a local councillor may help them to become someone who seeks to protect your family's freedom to educate your children outside of the state control system. How might they be able to do that? Well, in the main way, if they get to understand what home education is about, they are the people who are able to hold the officers of their council to account for how they implement the parts of the Act that survive the current and any future legal action going forward. It will be the members of the council, the councillors, who can say, we think you're not doing this properly, and hold those people to account. And that's why I think home educators need now to be getting to know their local councillors. What now is therefore a good time to begin to get to know them, to connect with them, and to help them understand the needs for their staff to deal properly, legally, fairly with home educating families. It's also a good time because following the elections in May, there is a high number of first-time councillors across the country, councillors who will want to be helpful to their community. These new councillors are not dyed in the wood, been doing it for year types. They are freshers on the job. Many, in fact, are people who've come from the grassroots and want to make a positive difference. Like MPs, councillors are elected to represent everyone in their ward, not just those who have the same political views as they do. As one of their local residents, this means you may well have to hold your nose when it comes to communicating with them. Your politics may be very different to theirs, but don't let that prevent you from taking them talking to them about the benefits of the choice you have made to provide your children with an education which is suitable to their needs. If there's a great gulf between your politics and theirs, don't let it get in the way. Just get on and get to know them. You don't have to be their friends. You simply have to be one of their local residents with a concern. Now, I'm saying this in what is politically something of a silly season. Not only are we all exhausted from the last year and a half fighting this horrible bill, but politics in general has once again proved to become a chaotic as well as mucky business. At the time of recording this video, there are 2 weeks still to go before we will know if the Labour Party's leadership question will be decided by a contest or a coronation. And even if Andy Burnham doesn't have to fight for the keys to 10 Downing Street, the earliest he can be appointed Prime Minister will be the 17th of July, which is the day that the House of Commons is due to rise for the summer recess. So we're going to have a summer of ongoing uncertainty. Councillors in the same way will also by then be thinking about their summer holidays, not to mention the council staff. However, the summer is also a good time for meeting local politicians, as they like to be seen at local community events. This, therefore, is a good time for you to begin to think how you might connect with them. You never know, you might bump into them at a local carnival or similar. Remember that in the coming months, staff in your local authorities team will be like home educators responding to the promised consultation on implementing the CNIS registers, children not in school, if you don't understand the jargon by now. So it's important to get to know your counsellor sooner than later. A little while ago, I decided it was a good time to record a video explaining this very thing, the importance of getting to know your counsellor. But before I could do so, someone I know contacted me about something they had drafted to help counsellors better understand what is and what isn't required of the local authority in regard to home education, both now as the law stands presently and in the future. Their idea was to create what they described as an audit toolkit for the elective home education department. Now, why did they think of this? Writing such things is part of what they used to do professionally. They decided it was something which would be very helpful now, given the influx of new council members following last May's elections. Since then, a small group of us have been working on this together, but we need your help in making it known to as many councillors as possible. It doesn't matter whether or not this is the first time they've been a councillor if they have years of experience. That said, there is the old saying that a new broom sweeps clean. Perhaps the new councillors might be the ones who get their teeth into this. So let me give you a quick overview of what their idea is and how you can make it known to your councillor. This video is going to be posted on my website, and below it you can find a template letter you can send to your councillor. It is written to help you introduce yourself to them and at the same time to make them aware of the audit toolkit. Now, you don't have to follow it word for word. Please restyle it to suit you, but please don't make it much longer. We're already probably pushing the boundary length of what they're going to be willing to read. with the template. I should emphasize, as in asking you to do this, that counsellors are already overwhelmed, like many of us are, with written material being emailed to them. I recently had a conversation with the deputy mayor of one of the UK's medium-sized cities. He was giving me an example of the workload that comes his ways, and he told me that on one occasion he received a document by email which had 200 pages in it. It'd been sent to him from within the council, but the major problem was that it arrived the evening before the meeting was taking place, and he was expected to read it in that short window of time. He told me he now realizes it's impossible to read every email he receives to do with his council work. But one thing did impress me. He went on to emphasize that he makes it a priority to keep in personal contact with the people he represents. And I want you to keep that in mind when you're approaching them. Local councillors are local people, and many are trying to make a positive contribution to their community. They're not career politicians like MPs on the whole these days. So they will be interested in people close to them. Returning to the letter, there are 3 themes in it which are introduced in the opening paragraphs. The first is something about you. There's space for you to briefly introduce yourself and something about your home education experiences. The second theme refers to the council's responsibilities in respect to elective home education. Finally, it introduces them to an audit toolkit and signposts them to the website where it is hosted. And this isn't my website, it's one we've set up specially for the councillors to visit. When councillors visit that website, they'll find an introductory video telling them about the toolkit. They'll see a downloadable copy of the audit toolkit document, along with a list of useful links. Included in those links are copies of the 2 letters sent by the Department for Education to the local authorities after the Children Wellbeing in School Act received royal assent. And those are very important for councillors to know what's happening. Now, as I said earlier, you'll find the copies of the letter and so on my Nationalisation of Our Kids website, along with a copy of this video you can share on your social media and places like that. And there's this other relevant information. The link to that page is on screen now as a QR code and a short link. And if you're watching this on one of my social media posts, you'll also find the link in the comments below. Please do what you can to engage with your local councillors so you can inspire them to take an interest in protecting freedom for families like yours to provide a suitable education for their children without having to regularly jump through the state's bureaucratic hoops. Finally, please encourage others to do the same.